Have you ever noticed the way a space feels before anyone says a word? The silent tension in a crowded elevator, the buzzing chaos of an airport security line, the anticipation in a packed spin room right before the lights go down and the beat drops. That sensation, that's energy. And you don't need to see it. You feel it. Energy influences how we move, think, and engage with our environments long before we process what's happening. It shapes our experience of the world. My name is Maxine, and I've built my life and businesses by designing spaces where energy isn't just felt, it's generated. To understand the spaces I build now, you'd have to rewind. Back before the microphone, before the stage, before I had a platform to lead a room. I wasn't born a CEO with capital or investors or a roadmap. I came to UVA without a clue of the direction I wanted to move in life. And at the age of 18, with this newfound freedom to choose how to spend my time and who to share it with, I adopted a formative principle, and that is make more time for things that provide you with value and less time for things that don't. To do this, we have to understand what is value. Value is often measured in dollars or degrees, but it also exists in the unexpected. A deep conversation with a colleague, a compliment from a stranger, a like on your post online. There's value in activities, sensations, and interactions that can't be measured in dollars or with data. It is intellectual and emotional as much as it is tangible. My first role at my cycling studio, Pure Velo, was unpaid. I was an intern, cleaning bikes and folding towels in exchange for a membership. To me, the value wasn't a paycheck, but access to ride classes, to community, and to a space I enjoyed. At Pure Velo, we cycle to the beat of the music. Our workout is fast-paced, it's intense, but it's not measured in metrics. Riders come to Pure Velo for an experience driven by energy. I gravitated to that energy, and I started to make more time for it. So on the job, I studied how the business ran. I learned how to change pedals, how to handle clients, and eventually, how to command a room. I saw a transformation in clients from the time they entered the studio until they left, and I saw this compound over time, over 10 rides, 100 rides, 500 rides. And I started to experience a transformation in myself. See, as young people, we are taught to pursue success, comfort, passion, connection, service, to pursue what makes us happy, to find our purpose, to have a meaningful impact on the world. Over the last decade, I've worked my way from intern to instructor to manager to eventually owner and CEO of 2 Pure Velo studios by pursuing energy. Because to me, human energy is synonymous with value. It's a renewable resource. It's accessible, and you can learn to generate more of it with the right tools. Understanding how energy works and how to expand it is a path to a better life. And if you don't believe me, consider what you could do with more energy. It's increased productivity, it's efficiency, it's more time for you to explore your passions and discover what fuels your body and mind. So I evaluate my life, my businesses, and my relationships in energy. And my purpose is to teach others to become the happiest and most fulfilled at whatever they're pursuing by learning to maximize energy naturally. See, energy is not luck. It's a practice. It's a skill you can build. It starts with your thoughts, because your thoughts shape your perception. They create your words, which become your actions. They influence your motivation and behaviors, and largely determine how you interact with the world. Energetic thinking requires understanding how your thoughts work, even when they're negative, because the thing is, you'll encounter unpredictable situations every day. You hit traffic on your way to an appointment. You're assigned a big deadline at work, or all of your exams get scheduled for the same week. In reaction, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure rises, and you experience thoughts of stress. These thoughts run through your neural pathways and manifest physically throughout your body. This response drains your natural energy quickly, and reacting when you're in this state emits more negativity into the situation. Energetic thinking is understanding that you can minimize this impact by teaching yourself to first observe your thoughts and then evaluate what you can control. Get grounded in what you can do and do that. So call your appointment, tell them you're running late. Plan a realistic schedule to complete your work and stick to it, or be honest and ask for help. Because proactive, solution-based thinking invites a positive response. The moment you understand what you can control in a situation and you act on it is the moment you stop the negative energy spend and you start to create a positive path forward. And what most people forget is that regardless of the outcome, you've created an opportunity to learn. How can you avoid this situation again? This insight frees you to choose differently in the future, and that's value. Beyond your thoughts, you're exchanging energy constantly with people, spaces, content, and experiences. The compliment from a stranger, a difficult client at work, images, videos, podcasts, conversations, everything you consume and interact with in the physical and digital world impacts your energy, and how these affect you is deeply personal. Energetic thinking requires you to curate the influences in your life with intention, based on your lived experiences, not based on how society tells you to act, think, or feel. When you begin to identify positive and negative forces, you can begin to consciously choose how to move towards what feels most fulfilling. So notice how you feel in your environments after conversations and after time spent online. And remember that you're the most qualified to define the value of these experiences because you're the one living them. Now, the human brain is complex. We have millions of neurons working to process and articulate the world around us. Evaluating the influence of energies at times is quite challenging. At times, it's difficult to trust yourself and your choices. Over the last decade, I have done my deepest work in building confidence in who I am in order to trust my own decision-making. And I've learned that confidence begins with very small details in your everyday routines, like setting your alarm for an early workout class. You plan for it, but when your alarm goes off, you hit snooze. What happens? You might feel guilty later that morning, but more importantly, you're teaching yourself that you're untrustworthy, that you don't do the things that you plan to do. And your brain learns that this is your pattern. These seemingly small habits shape the neural pathways that affirm you will or will not accomplish your goals, big and small. In contrast, when you have integrity with yourself, when you set goals, your unconscious brain believes you will achieve them because you've created a pattern with yourself of doing the things you set out to do. Therefore, your actions and your words will reflect your truest intention to be successful. And your trust in yourself strengthens. Having this accountability is how you build the confidence to make choices that expand your energy. What else builds confidence? Resistance. At Pure Velo, we talk about resistance on the bike. It's the tension you add to make your legs work harder. Resistance builds power in your muscles, and you cannot grow stronger without it. In life, resistance is just as essential. Now, the human brain is wired for efficiency, which means that acting in ways that are familiar, avoiding the unknown, avoiding resistance, is one of the most natural things we do. It requires less effort and it feels safe, but these behaviors prevent forward movement in your life. Energetic thinking is rewiring your thoughts to see challenges as opportunities in order to break patterns of fear and hesitation in your life. You cannot grow if you're unwilling to explore the unknown. Now, in the cycle room, resistance drives the client experience. We coach riders to add resistance to a point of physical fatigue without telling them exactly how much resistance to add. Instead, we describe a feeling. And we ask riders to increase their resistance until they feel they are at the edge of their comfort zone. And then we ask them to move beyond it. Each rider in the room chooses to add their resistance without knowing what another has added, because there's no collective, measurable target to achieve. In fact, the uniqueness of each rider's experience is celebrated. The rider's choice to get uncomfortable, to explore and expand their own strength, is celebrated. See, on the bike and in life, resistance is not a sign of failure. It's a signal of transformation. Each uncomfortable moment is an opportunity to learn and build a new level of capacity. Each time we move through a challenge, even imperfectly, we prove to ourselves that we are capable of more. And that proof becomes the foundation of confidence and self-trust in who we are becoming. It's how we break patterns of hesitation, fear, and self-doubt and replace them with opportunity. So today, my studios are more than spaces to work out. They're spaces where humans learn to build confidence on and off the bike. They learn integrity. They learn how to make unique choices that build resilience while embracing the beauty of discomfort and resistance. It's the mom who rediscovers the value in self-care so she can show up best for the people in her life. The college student who becomes confident to make individual choices in a world where outside influence is stronger and louder than it's ever been. It's the team members, many of whom started just like me, who now teach, lead, and generate more energy for our community. In a world that promotes conformity and a predetermined path, we celebrate uniqueness and teach humans that they are capable of building an extraordinary path toward fulfillment and happiness. And so I'll ask you, what would happen if you pursued more energy in your life, in your thoughts, with your peers, within your environment? With more energy, you grow, your team grows, your family grows, your community shifts, and your culture changes. And if no one's ever told you this, you don't need permission to find fulfillment. You don't need a title to create impact. Resistance is not a stop sign. It's a signal of transformation. And time, it's finite, but the value that you create for yourself and for others is not. That's the power of energy generation, and it's already in you. Thank you.